Lately, I have not been feeling like creating.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something I absolutely love to do.
Mm-hmm.
But lately, I just been feeling like it's a task.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
do you ever feel like something you love to do is like now becoming like, not a burden, but like more of a like, it's becoming like draining?
Yeah. I feel like that probably the same way that you do, because we've been posting pretty much every day, short form on Instagram and stuff. We've been posting every day since September.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, since September last year.
Yeah.
And it definitely gets draining trying to do that every single day with everything else that we have going on in life, and trying to make sure that we get that done.
Right.
So yeah, it definitely has gotten to me too. So I feel you very, very well.
I think it's always so interesting because it's like sometimes even the things you want to do become a burden or become like, well, I'll say a burden in a sense. But like, even though you don't feel like doing those things, you know that doing them will help you get to the bigger picture that you've created for yourself. So it's like, even in spite of not feeling like doing the thing, you still need to do the thing. Like even after the feeling of wanting it goes away.
Yeah.
And I think like that's something that we've had to learn with creating content, with fitness, with business. And it's so interesting how it's in so many different areas. And sometimes you just have to like push through those feelings. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I know it's been plenty of times, over the past couple years, man, that I've had moments where like I've kind of lost the passion, I guess you could say, because it's become more of a task. And I know we talking about this in relation to content, but I know everybody can find like their own thing to where, they've been doing something for a while. Like, shoot, matter of fact, even today when we was, at CryoFit, I was talking to one of the guys there and he was talking about, him being out of the gym for like a month, just kind of like lost that motivation or whatever the case may be. And, yeah, man, like it gets tough because it does happen, from time to time. But like you said, sometimes you just have to find a way to be able to push through, those feelings and keep going. Because I will say that burnout is a very real thing, for a lot of people, and that it could be hard maintaining a high level of like consistency, especially like trying to do something well. But yeah, man, like it's been a battle trying to navigate that for sure.
Yeah, I know like even in fitness, it's like I always run into like not feeling like wanting to work out. And like, shoot, I just got my enjoyment of the gym back since competing in June. And I just recently got that back. So it's like now I'm feeling that same thing with creating content. It's like I love to create content, but I'm just like, but it's like, Adoria, still push through and still make sure you're showing up and doing what you said you're supposed to do, because at the end of the day, that's what matters most. It's the fact that we set a goal, we made a promise to ourselves together and individually, and it's like, okay, keep that promise to yourself, because ultimately that's what's going to build your confidence. That's going to make you feel more capable, more competent in creating and things like that. So it's like, just keep going, because you know the just like the feeling of not wanting to do a thing exists, like that feeling, it'll go away.
Yeah.
And just like the feeling of wanting to do it will come back. So it's like, you got to go through this season of like, okay, I got to like kind of like do that grunt work. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's just like knowing that it's going to end. It's a temporary thing. So that's really where I'm at, and just still like pushing through and still creating content and still just showing up the way that we're supposed to, or the way that we said we wanted to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's so dope about this is the fact that we've had so many moments, throughout the past few years or whatever, right? To where we've had things that we kind of just had to like keep pushing through. And they've taught us so many different lessons that we've been able to use. Like for sure, man, like it's March right now?
Yes.
We started being consistent September last year. Definitely got tired of it more than a few times between now and then.
Yes.
But the moments where we've pushed through and still found a way to like keep going, the lessons that we've learned through the consistency, like these have been some of the most valuable lessons that I've learned in shoot, probably in a long time, and just being consistent. It shows you that even when you don't feel like doing something, you can still show up and do it well. It shows you that you can be able to look at things that you've done before and start to analyze them a little bit better to see how you can improve certain things. It starts making you look at like different ways to where you can like try to make things better, or how you can like improve like your workflow, or like try to figure out like all of these little tactics to be able to still continue to do the thing in spite of how you feel. And you get this level of confidence too, because you're doing something that you made a commitment to in spite of how you feel. Like it's giving you so much positive feedback and reinforcement and stuff just in the being consistent that for me personally has definitely bled over into other areas. And like now, like even as we're going down this path, you know, like to where, you know, I'm gonna be doing full-time creating, you know, like that, and you know, and working on all of those things that we're building towards, it gives me that much more confidence in what we're going to be able to produce over the next couple years or so. Just knowing what we've done with the time of us being consistent so far, it gives me more confidence in us being able to figure it out and like make things happen regardless of how we're feeling. Like knowing that there's going to be opportunities when, well, not opportunities, there's going to be moments where things don't feel like they're coming to you as easily, and you could still figure out how to navigate those moments and stuff like that. So it's teaching me personally a lot of lessons, just finding a way to keep going in spite of how we feel.
I think something that I've recently learned about myself is, I guess, like kind of like redefining what instant gratification is. Because I know like for a lot of people, they feel like they need that instant like result. Like once I do a thing, I need that payoff immediately. And something that we've had to teach ourselves is to delay that. Like it's okay for you to kind of like do the grunt work on and go for the long term game. But something I've learned about like instant gratification, I've stopped looking at it as like me getting an immediate like result or outcome. Like the instant gratification is me showing up the way that I said I was going to show up. Like I should be great. I should feel grateful for that. The fact that I showed up and I did what I said I was going to do. I kept the promise to myself. I'm doing the task. I'm doing prep. We're creating. We're doing all these things. And it's like, that should be what satisfies you, is the fact that you still did that shit regardless. You know, so me looking at it differently than like saying, oh, I need this result now. It's like, no, if I'm doing what I said I was going to do, like day after day after day, the results are going to come regardless. It's just only a matter of time. So it's like, okay, if I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, then that is the result for me. You know, like, I hope that makes sense.
No, well, because the thing about it is you're choosing what you want to focus on. And so it's like how a lot of people would be focused on the outcome of a thing. It's like, for example, like, you know, you talking about like wanting to hit a fitness goal or, you know, either the scale to hit a certain number or looking a certain way. But it's like, all right, well, did I show up to do this workout today to the best of my ability? You know, did I show up to create or do this thing or whatever your thing is? Did I show up the best way possible that I could, like today? And like allowing that to be the mile marker rather than, all right, I need to get to this target that may be God knows how far away. It's like, nah, let me just focus on what I can control, like right now, like in the moment.
Like what daily actions am I taking that's going to ultimately get me that result? Because if I'm doing that, the results are going to come regardless. So
I think what's been, I guess, like great for me to be able to focus on through this whole thing is realizing that in us still producing, we're still planting seeds. Like we're still putting things out there that are going to help people, that are going to be able to share perspective, that's touching other people in some particular type of way. You know what I mean? And like knowing that we're still showing up to actually give value every time that we do show up. You know, that we're doing things that based off of the feedback that we get is actually being like helpful. And so realizing that even though we may get tired of trying to show up every single day, we're not trying because we're actually doing it. But like showing up every single day, and that some days may be, you know, tougher than others, whatever the case, it's still dope knowing that we're honoring a commitment that we made and knowing that it's doing good. And that even though we don't see the fruits of what our labor may be, creating for us in the now, we know scientifically, spiritually, all of those things that it's doing something.
Yeah.
It's working something probably bigger than what we can see, that's compounding over time.
Yeah.
And we don't have to see the payoff right now. Like, it's just like, we deposit in these good seeds right now, because we don't know when we're going to need to get that return back, or when, it's going to be able to come back to us 10, 100 fold. But we're putting the good things out there regularly, like on purpose, with good intent, and just doing it in a way that just feels most real and honest to us.
Absolutely. And I think we both also know what it feels like to break commitments to ourselves, to like not follow through with what we said we were going to do, and just like completely kind of like stall ourselves.
Yeah.
So it's like, I know what that feels like. And I want to avoid that as much as possible. So even if I have to do something that I don't feel like doing, but I know it's going to get me where I want to go, I will still do that thing, because I don't want to feel like I felt before, so.
And man, and something, just for the listeners out there too, something that we've been able to really focus hard on is the fact that when you have a goal or process that you're committing to, right? Not just thinking about the outcome itself, like not thinking about, just wanting your marriage to get a certain type of way, or your health and fitness to look a type of way, business, all of those things, like whatever it is that you're focusing on, or whatever process that you've committed to, is realizing that when it's something that's genuinely productive and that moves the needle in your life, there's no downside to being consistent.
Right.
There is no downside to being intentional and consistent in a productive, meaningful area of your life. And so like with us, as we're building our brand, and as we're, becoming more versed in this world, well versed in this world of creating and things like that, the stuff that matter to us, right? Yeah. There's no downside to us being consistent. I mean, we know that in fitness, we know that in what we're doing, like with creating content, all of those things. But that right there allows me to be able to realize that, what? No matter how you feel right now, this is doing something.
Yes.
This is still beneficial. This is still productive. And it's not going to feel good all the time.
Right.
It's not going to be exciting all the time, but you still putting in those good deposits. But I tell you, it's going to feel real good.
Wait.
To look back a year and be like, hey, bro, we was consistent as hell for a whole year. Or even hitting 6 months is just like, man, that is crazy.
It is crazy.
May as well go for a year. We already halfway there. You know what I'm saying? But like, you don't feel that same level of joy sometimes, in the process, in the doing, especially when it feels like you're so far away from whatever your target is. But it's like the more that you're doing it, the more you're starting to expand your mindset. And it might sound crazy, man, to some, but no matter what you're consistent at in your life, if you're very intentional about that thing, you reflect on it, and you still find ways to push through even when it's hard, and you think about not just, the fact that you need to do it, but how you're feeling mentally, emotionally, how it's impacting you in all of those ways, like how it's touching other parts of your life. When you think about all of those aspects of what your consistency touches, right, it gives you a whole new level of perspective in the value of being consistent. So it doesn't just touch the one area.
Right.
Like if it's fitness, give it 3, 6 months, a year, a couple of years. It's going to touch so many other areas of your life, and you being consistent in that area that you won't see coming. It's like you start building up a secondary skill set in your mind. You start to build up a secondary level of discipline and focus. You start building up all of these secondary skill sets, mindsets, and things like that. You didn't even know was coming.
Yeah.
And that is the dopest thing. And like you get to deploy that in other areas of your life.
Right.
And you didn't even know all of that was going to come from you deciding to commit to one thing.
Right.
It's like I used to tell people like, hey, when you take your marriage serious and you're intentional and you really like do everything that you can to show up as the best partner possible, you would be surprised at how many other parts of your life that get better from you being that focused and intentional and committed to your marriage and becoming the best version of you for yourself and your marriage. Like you would be surprised at the other areas that touches in a big way from that one commitment.
Right.
So yeah, consistency is dope.
It is. It is. And we're going to keep going no matter how we feel.
Yeah. And so, I mean, that's really like the focus of this episode, I think. You know, things won't always be as exciting as they were in the beginning. It won't be.
Right.
No matter how much you enjoy something, like it won't always be exciting. But there's a huge payoff in knowing that you committed yourself to something and you stuck to it.
Right. Because it's only a matter of time.
That's it.
It's literally only a matter of time.
And that's what we keep saying.
I believe that.
Yeah.
I believe it with all my heart.
And what we mean by that is like, it's really only a matter of time until you see the fruits of your labor.
Yep.
Until you see the payoff for all of the work that you've put in and the effort that you've put in, you know, towards your goals, be it becoming a person that you desire to be, becoming somebody that you're proud of, or whatever your work is, whatever your thing is. Like, it's only a matter of time if you truly commit yourself to it, devote yourself to it, and just show up every day to do what has to get done, and then reflect on how it's actually impacting you and making you better, and how you're growing through that process. Because if you're not reflecting, you're not getting the full value of it. If you're not taking the time to really reflect on your process, you're only getting half the value.
Yeah, this is like, how are you gauging your growth in that process? Like, if you don't reflect on what you're actually doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to reflect on it.
Yeah.
Because some of the stuff that you're going to make that big progress in, you might grow in that area and don't even know that you've grown in that area because you haven't actually taken the time to look back at it.
Right.
And that's a skill, man. That is a skill.
Absolutely.
But I hope y'all got something from that, man. I really do. That's what we're dealing with in life right now. You know, that's what life is for us. We're growing through it, and we're hoping that, you know, you guys are able to learn and grow from our experiences, our perspectives, and the way that we're navigating it.
Yeah.
So until next time, family, my name is John Tron. This is my beautiful queen,
Adoria.
and we are one dope couple. And until next time, family, peace and love.